rescue me. All right, AOA podcast back for another episode. Look at all the good-looking people here. Oh, my goodness. Christella made it first tonight. Debbie, Robin, Miss Justice, Will, the whole crew is here. Good to see everybody. So nice to have you all on board. People watching on the replay, shout out replay crew. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up on the vid. It's always super important for the algorithm. Helps us out tremendously. Just hit that little thumbs up button. Share it too if you can on your socials, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Instagram stories, it all works. We're talking about Doge on this episode. It's a big one. Lots going on in the government these days. John Rocker versus Pat Mahomes. We're actually going to get a fight going here, which is pretty interesting. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominations announced, and we'll throw in a couple of other assorted topics and such as we tend to do. My friends, that's a podcast. Take me in, take me out, take me any way you want to, baby, now. I don't think I've been listening to enough Mariah Carey. I got to get back on my Mariah listening. Big fan of Mariah back in the day. I don't know what's happened to me. I've fallen off. Apologies to the Mariah fans out there. I feel like I'm not one of you. I don't know if it's the amount of time that I'm paying attention to Taylor Swift these days. I don't know if it's my family getting in the way. I don't know. I could probably spend less time with my kids. That'd probably be helpful. Increase the amount of time I'm listening to the great Mariah Carey. Wait to hear some of these Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominations, though. You're going to be surprised, delighted, and disappointed. Probably disappointed. Thank you, Robin. I feel a lot better. It's amazing what's come out of my nose in the last 48 hours. Not to sound gross, but you ever get so sick and you just you blow your nose and then you look at it and you go, I think I should go to the hospital. I think I need to be in the hospital. I blew my nose so hard yesterday morning. A Buick came out, literally an 82 Royal Blue Buick, right out of my nose. I go, I don't even know. It opened everything up, though. I really have been able to breathe. I can hear things better. The whole thing has been amazing. So thank you guys for sticking with me through sounding pretty awful. We have to talk about Doge. And this goes back into our whole landscape shift between Democrats and Republicans, which we've talked about ad nauseum. I'm not going to recap the whole thing, but we're kind of in this right-wing kind of era right now. And Trump and Elon, and they seem to be having their run of everything right now, right? Things are kind of seemingly going well for them, aside from a couple of weird things and misses. I mean, with Elon, there's always weird things. The misses, we talked about Trump backing, getting Mexico to commit to 10,000 troops. That they already did that during the Biden administration. So there's some misses. They're not winning every single battle here, but this Doge thing is super interesting, and people are really upset with Elon, and I get it. He's not a government official, right? Got to make sure he's not getting access to records and things like that he shouldn't be having. Okay, fine. That's all fine and dandy. The work that he's doing, though, is so shockingly obvious that you look at this and you go, how has nobody been doing this before? I mean, Donald Trump is going to get credit for a lot of things. He's going to get shit on for a lot of things. One of the more unbelievable things he's going to get credit for is common sense bookkeeping. Literally. I mean, again, it's early. What are we, 13 days into the presidency? What's today? February. I don't even know we're not even a month in. We're like 15, 16, whatever it is, 18 days, whatever it is, into this presidency. It's so far too early. But potentially, one of the things that Trump could get credit for is common sense bookkeeping just by putting Elon Musk in charge. Some of the things that Elon Musk is exposing and talking about is unbelievable to me. And we've talked about the USAID spending and the weird stuff that went on there. By the way, Trump fired the watchdog for USAID today. This gentleman by the name of Paul Martin lost his job. He should, let's be honest. And I saw this thing that because Elon was in the Oval Office with the president yesterday, and he was talking about some of the things that he found to be true, right? That he was finding out through his searches with Doge here. And I'm going to read some of them to you because they're super interesting. But what I want to focus on is the response from the Democrats, because you got some Democrats that are still like horsing around, like the Democratic representative from California, Robert Garcia. There was a hearing today, and he was in there, and he was like, last year Marjorie Taylor Greene literally showed a dick pic in Congress, and I'm going to do the same thing. And he flashes around a picture of Elon. It's cute. I get it. Kind of a dick move. Especially when you look at what Elon is potentially doing. Elon's not off the hook with me. I don't love the guy, right? I'm not giving him like an award here. He's got to prove a lot of this stuff. But one thing he said yesterday in the White House is actually very true. He was talking about the office that handles government retirement. Okay. So when you work for the government, if you want to retire, there's an entire office dedicated to this, the Office of Personnel Management. And the Office of Personnel Management is still executing people's retirements on paper. On paper. It's 2025. We have AI doing things for us that's near impossible. Like you put some stuff into AI, you can write a whole book. You can put into a chat GPT right now, write me a 400-page novel where this, and this happens over the course of 10 chapters. In chapter 1, this should happen. In chapter 2, you can lay out a whole book and send it off to ChatGPT, and in minutes, you will have a book that you could put online and sell. In minutes. And our own government, the most powerful government on the planet, the wealthiest country, the most beautiful, wonderful country, we all agree, right? We're executing retirements on paper. And not only that, because if you haven't heard this story, it's ludicrous. We're filing said paper in a mine underground that we bought for $55 million many years ago, and then we sold and are now paying rent on. So if you want to retire from the federal government, you have to go through this Office of Personnel Management, and they have to file your paperwork by hand on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, get into an elevator, go, I don't even know, 100 feet, whatever it is, down this thing. It's in a limestone like shaft. And then they go and then they file it. And so Elon's in the office and he's joking around. He goes, if the elevator breaks down, nobody can retire. They can only do, Helen has got it. Only 10,000 people can retire a month because it takes that long to physically move the paperwork around. That's all they can accomplish. I mean, it's the most absurd thing. 10,000 people. Because it takes them a while to get the paperwork 230 feet underground. The U.S. government, by the way, has been using this since the 50s, I think. It's a facility that was once owned by U.S. Steel. It was mined from 1902 to 1952. By the 1960s, the government began stashing records there, and they still use that facility today. It's Iron Mountain, a storage provider. They purchased the mine in 1998, and now they're leasing the facility back to the government. And they're using an elevator, and they got to get down there. And there's just it's a mine with endless amounts of racks, and people are just like logging the thing. Now, I love Robin's response here, because when I first heard Elon say this, I said the same thing that Robin is saying. There's no way this is true. There is no way this is true. Robin, and everybody out there, this is 1,000% true. There was an article in the Washington Post years ago citing this exact thing. Not only is it true, but we've known about it for years. for years. Since the 1980s, the government has been trying to modernize the system. They've spent millions of dollars trying to modernize the system and haven't yet. Since the 1980s. Since the 1980s, they spent millions of dollars trying to modernize this, and nothing has been accomplished in the last 45 years. What project do you know has gone on for 45 years? 45. With millions of dollars thrown at it, where the system hasn't changed one iota. Think about how stupid we look to the rest of the world today. If you want to retire from the government, you got to fill out a piece of paper. Somebody has to walk said paper into an office. Somebody has to look at it. I guess they use a stamp. I would assume if they're using paper, they're using a stamp. They're stamping it. They're putting it in a folder, getting it ready to take that 230-foot elevator ride down into the mine. The thing breaks down. They can't retire anybody. Paper. I feel like, remember Waterworld, that guy? Paper. He was so excited for paper. Are you fucking kidding me? I know the Democrats. I get it. You don't want to give Donald Trump credit for anything. You want to make fun of Elon. You want to call it all an embarrassment. But there's been more light shed on this today than at any other time, counting the Washington Post article and everything else. Everything. Elon found people receiving Social Security, the age for these people, some of them are 150 years old. Meaning people have died and they keep sending checks to these people. One of the other things that Elon said was it takes a year for the government to put somebody on a do not pay list. A year. And even when they do get on there, they're still paid. Because if you are supposed to pay somebody, according to Elon, and this logic checks out, if you're supposed to pay somebody and you don't, you're going to get a complaint when you don't pay them, right? That's how it's going to happen. If you're not supposed to pay somebody and you pay them, they're not going to call up and complain, hey, you said you weren't going to pay us and you're still paying us. Please stop sending us money. Doesn't work that way. So in order to stop the complaints, they just kept paying people because it was easier than solving the problem, right? It was just easier that way. So instead of going, we were supposed to pay them, but we didn't because we weren't supposed to pay these other people, we made a mistake. Instead of having to field those calls and complaints, they just decided, well, we'll just pay everybody and then nobody will call and complain anymore. And that's what's happening. Again, the mine story we have a backup for. We know this is true. You can Google it. There's a Washington Post article. Some of the other things we're going to have to wait on proof for. But if he's right about the mine, God knows what. And by the way, he's 14 days into it or whatever the hell he is. Think about what he's going to find when they really start digging through things. Okay, and you want to know how bad it is? There's another podcast called Pod Save America, right? It was started by Jon Favreau, not the actor, not the you're so money you don't even know it, Jon Favreau, the speechwriter for President Obama. Brilliant guy, really smart guy. And John, the other John, I don't know. The other John is respected too. I don't know his name. I know the speechwriter, John. So it's two guys from the Obama administration. They said on their latest episode, Pod Save America, by the way, doesn't get more liberal than the two Johns from Pod Save America, right? Part of the Obama administration. They both said today, and I quote, we should have done some of these things during our administration. So you have two prominent Democrat leaders or Democrat players in the Democratic Party. And they're prominent because of their place in Pod Save America is massive. It's a huge podcast. Openly admitting, I didn't know we could do this. They sat there on the episode and they were like, yeah, governments run slowly. We all kind of knew that, but we never really realized you could just stop and change what was happening. What? Like what? So you're telling me every president up until this one has just been like, oh, okay, this is the way it is. This is the first one in a while to go, hold on a second. Why are we paying people this way? Why, if people want, it's 2025. Do you understand my niece who's 7, 18, 9, whatever she is in college, 20, whatever the fuck she is, 21? I feel like I can even go younger than that. I feel like I have other relatives that are like 15, 16. I could get one of them, again, to go on ChatGPT and write a program that would take a Google Doc, whatever would it, there's a million ways to make retirement more efficient. You know what I'm saying? Like, how hard is a Google Doc form? And we're still filing paperwork on actual paper. And no other administration has ever thought, we could probably look at these things. Now, listen, would I like them to look at the tax laws and get some of these millionaires and billionaires to pay their fair share of taxes with the same vigor that they're looking through the government waste? Yeah, I would. I would really love that, because then I think we would be firing on all cylinders. Then, if we can get if we can get Elon to pay the amount of taxes he should be paying and do all this other stuff, we'd be unstoppable. We would almost be the undisputed greatest country in the world again. I mean, right now we think we are. We say we are. I think we are. But boy, are we not as good as we used to be, right? I think we'd be back there if we did that. Like, again, if we can turn some of that attention on the people who should be paying their taxes and get them to do it, oh my God, we'd be cooking. So I would like that too. I don't want you to think your old pal Ant's gone total right-wing conservative. But I feel like I haven't really changed much here. I've kind of been saying all these things from the beginning of time, not maybe this Elon stuff. I mean, who knew this was happening? Again, there was an article on the Washington Post years ago, but nobody really knew this stuff was happening. These are the first people to start kicking rocks over and figure out what's going on underneath it. How could you criticize this? I would feel, and believe me, I have a fuck ton to say about Elon, right? There's plenty of criticism to go around. I still have lots of issues with the guy, but I'm not going to stand here on February 12th and be like, boy, this guy Elon's a dick. He doesn't belong there. Are you fucking kidding me? He's the only one doing this. He's got the Pod Save America Obama administration guys going, why didn't we think of this? We didn't even realize we could do this. I mean, every administration, the Biden administration, Obama, Bush, you can go all the way back to Clinton. Nobody thought we should be doing this. Nobody thought, let's see what the payment schedules are like. The other criticism that Elon had was, he goes, how hard would it be to put a code on the payments? Every other finance department has codes for what the payment is for, so you know what the payment is for. He's like, we're sending out payments. We don't even know what the payments are for. And this is our tax money. You know what I mean? Like, by the way, there's 1,000 people, 1,000 people whose job it is to run files, paperwork, back and forth, up and down this mine shaft. 1,000 people. We are paying 1,000 people to run an antiquated system of retirement for the whole country. No, just for federal workers. It costs us 1,000 people's wages so that they can run physical papers, physical papers, back and forth down. I don't even know what this is. My wife's. I have no idea what this is. I don't know why these papers are here. The last time I have an Apple Pen. I don't even fucking write on paper anymore. Who's writing on a paper? Everything I do is typing and write and clicking, and I don't. If you said to me, Ann, can you write me a letter? I couldn't do it. I don't have paper. I can write you an email because I exist in the world of 2025. Okay? I'm also a little paranoid that Aaron's going to bust out a game at any moment, and I'm going to have to actually write something down. So I do keep some scrap paper. This is my wife's, but I did keep it on the desk here in the studio, just so in case I have to fucking, because I don't want to ever, because Frank has no paper sometimes, and I like to make fun of him for that. So if I don't have paper, then I can't make fun of him. It's a big problem. It's a big, big problem. Aaron has us all right. Yeah, Aaron has everybody at this point with a little stash of paper near wherever they like to watch or listen to the podcast, and also fully prepared to get errand. Or as I like to say now, errand out the ass. I don't know who said that last episode. Who said that last Friday? I'm getting errand out the ass. I don't know who said that, but it stuck with me the whole entire time. And every time, I think even during the Super Bowl, I might have said, boy, the Chiefs are getting errand out the ass here. This is ridiculous. It's really become a thing in my household. That's caught on. That is caught on big time. You know, paper, mine shaft. You can't make it up. I understand you don't believe me. I don't want you to. I didn't believe it either until I saw the photographs for my own. I can show them to you. I'm purposely not. I want you to be like, this isn't. I want you to go through the whole process of finding it on your own because it's there. There's photos. I'm looking at a photo right now. I'm looking at a fucking photo right now. Okay, look. Boop, there it was. Can't show it to you longer than that. I'm not going to do it. Fucking mine shaft. The ceiling is all, look at the white, the whole thing. It's fucking ridiculous. And it's Donald Trump's vision and leadership that has led to this. Okay? Nobody believe me. Believe me. Nobody is sitting here waiting to poke fun at that man more than your average podcast host. And I like to think I'm a little bit smarter than the average podcast host. I'd love to pounce on it. I would love to just shit all over this. I don't see how you can. You know, I just don't see how you can. There's just too much stuff there. There's too much stuff. When the Pod Save America liberal leaders are going, I can't believe we didn't think of that. It's time to throw your hands up, Democrats, and admit you lost this one, and early on in the administration here, it's rough goings for you because the Elon move is proving to be true. Now, here's the other thing I find interesting too. Elon started with like 10 people in this Doge thing. Now they're up to 100 people. So let's see how legitimate Doge winds up being over the long term. I love this question because Miss Justice, I went through the same thing. Those photos can't be fabricated. They're not. We got to choose to believe the Washington Post, right? And the Washington Post had this, by the way, in I forget what year it was. I want to say it was like a good 10, 15 years ago. The Washington Post had the photos and wrote a whole thing about it. That this was all. They had it. The Washington Post had it. This isn't new photoshopped weirdness, right-wing Breitbart horseshit. This is real, people. This is real. It's 1,000,000% real. I think, all right, now I want to make sure I don't get anything wrong. I'm pretty sure there was like 1,000 people that work in this department. But Robin's saying it's not 1,000 people. I'm pretty sure I have that in my notes. Now I can't find it because I'm looking for the number 1,000. I would have just wrote 1,000. I could be wrong about that. But there's a lot of people that are working to physically move the paper around instead of it just being a button on a computer somewhere. How hard is that to people retire? Companies retire people all the time. They've come up with systems. You know, they've figured it out. They don't have a mine shaft, and we're paying. We are paying. Some company bought the thing and goes, "This will be great. These dummies, they'll use this thing for the next 100 years," and they're right. I can't imagine what we're paying for. It's a huge mine shaft. I cannot imagine. He didn't say what we were paying for that. I can't imagine what we're paying for that. But you're telling me we can't come up with a program? Again, I think I can do it on ChatGPT right now. I think I can have ChatGPT write me a program and put it into use to have federal government employees retire without having to do it on a fucking physical piece of paper. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing left to say. By the way, they also found out that U.S. aid funded, who was the terrorist? Elon and Doge uncovered the fact that we at some point funded the education. Where the fuck is this now? All right, I'm going to go through some of these things that they found. Oh, wait, here it was. Okay, sorry. It was in my Trump fired the guy. Okay, here it is. Sorry, I got notes all over the place. Very disorganized. This episode's very disorganized. I'm going to give a refund to everybody who paid for this episode. USAID bankrolled the college education of an Al-Qaeda terrorist with ties to 9/11. This was the same guy that Obama wound up whacking during his administration. So documents obtained by Fox News showed Al-Awlaki. He applied for college saying that he was born in Yemen, but he was actually born in New Mexico, so that he could get this tuition grant thing that was going on through U.S. aid to pay for his college education. And that's exactly what he did. Al-Awlaki earned a bachelor's degree in civil engineering in 1994 before teaching Islam at mosques across the country, where the U.S. officials believed he radicalized and recruited terrorists, according to these documents that were obtained by Fox News. President Barack Obama, later on in 2011, ordered him killed in a U.S. airstrike in Yemen. These details emerged as part of the investigation into U.S. aid as incompetent and corrupt. Now, you could say, all right, well, listen, who the hell would have known, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. But still, like, we're just handing out cash haphazardly. Our deficit is increasing through the roof. It's harder for people, average, ordinary citizens, to live, right? I mean, there's so much more places that we could put this money to pay down debt, to pay down cost of living expenses for the average American. Wouldn't it be nice if we tax the middle class a bit less instead of taking all this money and just throwing it towards these things that are coming back to bite us in the ass? You know, I mean, it appears to be simple things, because I used to think, well, it's so complex, right? And it's really hard to twist and turn, and you figure it out. You need some aid. And like I was saying the other day, too, we don't want to be isolationists, right? We want to spread our influence across to other countries so that evil, communism, bad forms of government don't spread and take hold in certain areas. We want to make sure that we're not, letting anti-American sentiment fester in other places in the world, the Middle East and whatever it is. You don't want to have breeding grounds for people that are going to grow up and want to attack us or cause us harm. That's why I have no problem with Sesame Street for wherever the fuck that was, the Middle East or Egypt or wherever it was. I have no problem with that stuff. Again, like I said, Snuffleupagus will get you to love America. You will want to harm American citizens less if you grew up on Big Bird. I believe that. I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm half making a joke, but I'm half telling the truth to you. I believe that. I believe the American way, providing opportunity to people and putting our IP, our characters, whether it be Big Bird, Mickey Mouse, or whoever it is, right? Letting people fall in love with America. I got no problem with that. I want people, children, young people in other countries to be dreaming about what it must be like to come here and live, right? That's how we got through the entire, from 1900 on, even before that, from the 1800s all the way through, when we had all these wonderful migrations from Europe, from Africa, from the Middle East, all of it, right? You had people coming from Japan into California. People wanted to be here. America was the gold standard. Everybody thought the streets were paved with gold. I have no problem portraying those stories, sharing our IP again with the world, letting them dream about how great we are. A lot less likely for them to kill us, right? So I'm fine with spending money on shit like that. I believe that stuff pays off dividends in the long term. Again, we talk about DEI and all these things. It's like I hate to say it, but I believe the best way to get rid of racism is just generationally over time. Don't teach your kids to be assholes. That's the best way to do it. Do we have other short-term fixes that might work? You hope they work. Maybe they might. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe put them in place. We'll see what happens. I'm okay with all of it. Sometimes it's a bad thing, like the FAA thing we talked about, right? Okay, fine. The most effective way is generationally over time. So I have no problem spending money in those kinds of areas abroad. I'm totally okay with that. But some of these things that are going out there, like I said, this guy fucking turns out to be a terrorist, comes back, bites us in the ass. Let's see here. Now they're talking about going after the Department of Education. That I don't know about. I know people have their complaints with the Department of Education. That one, I just think we need to hold our children a bit more accountable. Is it the curriculum, or is it the fact that we're not holding the kids accountable and we're not holding the teachers accountable, and the teachers aren't holding the kids accountable? I think that might be part of it. Is it also the fact that both mom and dad are working, and maybe in some cases, one of them's got more than one job, and they don't have the fucking time to spend with the kids? Crack down on them, make sure they're doing their homework and paying attention and getting good grades in school. I think that's got a lot to do with it too. I think you increase the quality of life around the United States, and the kids' education maybe will get a little bit better. Again, like I said, if you don't have to work 10, 12 hours a day, 2 jobs, all that kind of shit, might be able to spend more time with your children doing homework. So that's something to look into too. But, as far as criticizing Elon, I mean, come on, just he's a dick. I think there's plenty to complain about, but he's finding some fucking obvious ones. Some obvious ones. Again, when the Pod Love America guys or Pod Save America guys are fucking like, oh, I can't believe we didn't think of that. Something's up. They're doing something right. So that's the update on Doge. Crazy story coming out of New Orleans from the Super Bowl. I love that we're at Wednesday's show and we're still talking about some Super Bowl stuff. But if you remember, you remember John Rocker? He was like the crazy fucking Atlanta Braves pitcher who I forget, there was something where he was like throwing there was a battery thing where people maybe threw batteries at him or some shit. I forget what it was. And I think he said some racist shit at one point. I don't know. I never liked John Rocker. Never, ever, ever. For several reasons. One, he was an Atlanta Brave. I mean, right there alone. How's a New York kid gonna fucking like that guy? Fuck the Atlanta Braves. As a Mets fan, holy shit, hated that team always. Bobby Cox is one of the most talented managers ever. I fucking couldn't stand him. But anyway, John Rocker was like I said, a pitcher for the Braves, and he got into some trouble. I can't even remember what it was, but he's kind of like a yokel-y, southerny kind of shitty piece of shit guy. Patrick Mahomes' dad, played for the Mets, and he was down in New Orleans. They're on Bourbon Street, as you could see from this video here. Credit to Barstool Sports TV for I don't think they were the first ones to have it, but this is the thing that we got here. So Pat Mahomes is in the red hoodie right there, and he's talking with some people. And John Rocker is at a bar and spots him and comes over and shouts out, "Hey, Pat Mahomes." Goes over to shake his hand. Pat goes to shake his hand before realizing who he is, and then kind of pulls away from him. and starts talking shit, and they get into a little bit of a confrontation where they have to be separated by these two guys, and they almost kind of come to blows over, I don't even know what. I don't know if this is just heated rivalry from Mets Braves. Again, Pat Mahomes played for the Mets. John Rocker pitched for the Braves. I don't know if it's leftover stuff from that, or if it's like the shitty stuff that John Rocker was known to say. I feel like there's a huge controversy with John Rocker that I'm just ignoring. I want to say it was some sort of racial shit, though. I remember it was bad stuff. But anyway, they get into this little altercation, and Dave Portnoy, who runs Barstool Sports, reaches out to the both of them and signs the both of them to his boxing. He has like a boxing company, signs the both of them to a boxing deal. And John Rocker and Pat Mahomes are going to get into the ring in Wheeling, West Virginia in a few weeks here and have a boxing match, which I cannot fucking believe. I mean, Pat Mahomes played for the Mets. I don't know. He wasn't like the greatest Met of all time, but I'm sure he made a ton of good money. He's got a shit ton of money coming in from his son. I know he's had some issues. He's had multiple DUIs, Pat Mahomes Sr. He's had some problems, but still, I would imagine he doesn't really need the money. And now all of a sudden, he's going to be climbing into the ring and fighting John Rocker in, I forget what they call, Rough and Rowdy. April 19th, Rough and Rowdy, Wheeling, West Virginia. According to Dave Portnoy, these two will face off in a ring. I'm pretty surprised by this. Not John Rocker. He's kind of a shitty rednecky guy, right? I expect trash like him to, yeah, sure, I get it. But Pat Mahomes Sr., what does he have to gain by this? And also, I mean, let's be realistic here. I mean, Pat Mahomes Sr. is an athlete. There's no doubt about it. Hard to tell from this video because he's wearing a hoodie, so you don't really know. He looks like a tough guy. I'm not going to say Pat Mahomes Sr. couldn't drop me. He probably could. But look at John Rocker. He's a big dude. That's a big dude right there. I mean, John Rocker looks like he hasn't missed much time in the gym. I'd be a little afraid to go up against John Rocker. Also, you never know with that drunk redneck energy. You know, that's a strength. You get some guy from south of the border with a couple of beers in them. They're hard to fucking knock down, man. They are hard to knock down. They're like Homer. They just take a lot of punches, and then they get a couple of swings in on you. Next thing you know, you're in trouble. So I don't know if I could endorse this from Pat Mahomes. And I also think Pat Mahomes Sr. is a little older than John Rocker, too. I believe he is a little older. So I don't know. We'll see. But they're both athletes. Maybe it'll be amazing. I don't know. I'm a little worried about Pat Mahomes Sr. I'm also worried about him because it's kind of like you shouldn't need the money. Rocker, I get. I get him needing the money. That I totally get. But I don't know. I'm a little concerned for Pat Mahomes Sr. And I also, like, why would Patrick Mahomes let him do that? I don't know how they got that contract signed so fast, but kudos to the Barstool people for hopping on a little scuffle video and turning it into a pay-per-view opportunity. Those guys know how to cash in. Last story of the episode here. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced their 2025 nominees for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Hall put out a list of 14 performers just moments ago. And here's the list. 8 of the 14 nominees, by the way, are on the ballot for the first time. We have Bad Company. We have Joe Cocker, Billy Idol, Joy Division, New Order, Manya, Soundgarden, The White Stripes, Mariah Carey, Chubby Checker, Cyndi Lauper, Outkast, and Fish. Those are all the nominees. So 8 of the 14 nominees are on the ballot for the first time. First-time nominees are Bad Company, The Black Crowes, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Billy Idol, Manya, Outkast, and Fish. 2 candidates this year, Mariah Carey and Chubby Checker, obviously have had huge impacts, right? Carrie has 19 number one hits on the Billboard Hot 100, while Chubby Checkers, The Twist, and Let's Twist Again are considered amongst one of the more popular songs in rock and roll history. Surprising that Chubby Checker hasn't been put into the Hall of Fame yet. It's weird because he is kind of a one-hit wonder. It's The Twist and Let's Twist Again. He basically had two songs, but he made a whole entire career out of two songs. I had the good fortune to meet Chubby Checker in my radio career before I was on the air, and it was amazing watching this. The guy looked, I don't know how old he was when I met him, 70 something, and he looked like he was fucking 22. He looked better than me right now. He just looked better than me. And he had energy, and he was moving, and he was fucking singing, and he was still twisting. He wasn't twisting a lot, but he was twisting. He's twisting more than I could right now. Chubby Checker's a legend. But again, kind of a one-hit wonder. You know, he's kind of a one-hit wonder. Mariah Carey, if you ask me, surefire, you know, she's the only one in this whole group that needs to go in. Mariah Carey should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of success she's had. 19 number one hits. She dominated throughout the 90s and into the 2000s. Like, it's just absurd. Her sales, it's kind of weird now because if you look at most kids, they look at her as kind of not like a joke, but she's like the Christmas person now, you know? Like, she's just like that whole we thaw her out and all that kind of shit. That's how we treat that's how we treat Mariah Carey now. But Mariah Carey fucking brought it in her career. She had a lot of hits, a lot of big songs, a lot of good albums, you know. Somebody said here, who said low bar? That's a low bar. Yeah, Helena Bucket, that's a low bar. Yeah. It is. This is by far maybe the weakest class of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees I've seen in quite some time. It's pretty weak. I mean, fucking Fish. I mean, for real. Fish. Fish does not deserve to be. Come on. Stop it now. I mean, if we're talking about the LSD Hall of Fame, you put fucking Fish in all you want. If we're talking about Whippets Hall of Fame, let's fish it up, baby. Let's do it. Outside of that, let's say hi to the world famous Aaron C. Everybody, Aaron, go back like 20 minutes. We did a whole segment on getting Aaron out the ass. It was pretty good. I think it was the highlight of the episode, for being honest. No, Ann, I meant Chubby Checker looking better than you. That's the low bar. Jesus Christ. Ouch. Good one. It's a good line, but ouch. Ouch nonetheless. It is a low bar, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, the real Pell Ant's looking haggard these days. Lots of bags under the eyes. I'd use those icy things now that they have to the fighters. You know they're selling that shit on TikTok now. The stuff you put in the fridge. It's like a metal thing, and you just put it over. Thanks, Bert. I'm going to send you the money that you deserve for spreading that lie. There's $5 check on the way. Like my aunt used to do to me, Bird, when I said nice things to her and didn't mean it. I'm going to send you a $5 check. I wish there was more in there, but my aunt didn't send me more than $5, so that's what you're getting is $5. Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I love the Black Crowes, but Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy? I don't know. Oasis, I could make the argument for. There's lots of sales there, lots of number one hits. Billy Idol, I get it. We all like him, right? We all like Billy Idol. It's a nice thing, the nostalgia 80s things. He shows up in a commercial every now and then and does the fucking face, and we all laugh and love it and have a good time. I don't know about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy. You know, I honestly feel like I can make the argument for Outkast before I can make an argument for Billy Idol. That's just the truth. You know, Outkast did some legendary things. That whole we're a group, but the one guy is going to get kind of this side of track disc 1, and the other guy is going to get disc 2. What was that record where Andre 3000 and Big Boy they each kind of like had their own discs, and they were still a group and together? Pretty fucking huge. I mean, you go back to the 2000s. whatever that was, and you know, sorry, Miss Jackson, whatever record that was a fucking big record, man. That was a big record, and really did change that hip hop game. Like they were one of those people who really got hip hop transitioning out of gangster rap and back into just the form of hip hop and rap, and it was just fucking banger after banger, just hit after hit with Outkast for a while there. Joy Division, New Order, not the biggest fan. I think Joe Cocker, from a respect standpoint, they have to go in. Joe has to go in. Joe is pretty unbelievable. Joe had a long, illustrious career, like just unique voice, that fucking voice, that raspy, just soul. If you're asking me, I'd put in, out of this list, I'd put Mariah in. I'd put Joe Cocker in. I love the White Stripes, but it's too early. They weren't. They were revolutionary at the time. Those two-man group, right? Just the drummer and Jack on guitar and vocals. It's just not Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy to me. Who did I say? Mariah, Joe Cocker. I don't even know if I could put anybody else in. I might just go with those two. Maybe Outkast, Bad Company. I mean, it's not that I don't have respect for Bad Company. I respect Bad Company. But, I mean, we've literally put in almost everybody else from that whole class. When Bad Company ruled the world, right? Everybody else who was ruling around that time have already been put in. Are we just scraping the bottom of the barrel? Let me look at their stats here. I know I'm pissing people off. I might be regretting this. Let me see here. Bad Company, Straight Shooter, and One with the Pack all reached top 5 in the album charts in both the UK and the US. Many of their singles and songs. Bad Company, Can't Get Enough, Feel Like Making Love. They got some hits, you know. I mean, there's no doubting about it. Shooting Star, Rock and Roll Fantasy. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I don't see it. Mariah has 19 number 1 hits. 19. That's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame career. That's a Hall of Famer career. Nobody else has that. I mean, even Joe Cocker doesn't even have that, right? I mean, Joe had some. See, here's the problem with Joe Cocker. He covered the shit out of a lot of songs, but nobody fucking covered a song like Joe Cocker. There aren't a lot of people who covered the Beatles and completely hijacked the Beatles, right? I mean, I've said this a long time about Joe Cocker, but with a little help from my friends by Joe Cocker, it's better than the Beatles. It's just better than the Beatles. Feeling All Right, Up Where We Belong, even kicking it 80s style. That's the thing too about Joe. He fucking survived the 80s in an unembarrassing way. Lift us up where we belong. It's fucking great. You Are So Beautiful, When the Night Comes. Come on, The Letter. My baby wrote me a letter. Delta Lady, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. Like, again, I get it. It's all covers, basically. But there's nobody fucking crushed songs like he did. Let's see. Feeling All Right, Unchain My Heart. A little help from my friends. Woodstock, Isles All Right. What else? Yeah, let's not forget he was on the fucking theme song for the Wonder Years. Yeah, even his version of She Came Into the Bathroom Window fucking killed. Mad Dogs and Englishmen, amazing record. He won a Grammy for Up Where We Belong in '83. I don't know, man. I would put Cocker in, but he's really low on the, you know, I don't know. I would put him in. Cocker, Carrie. Cocker and Carrie is also a morning show I would put on the air. I'd put that right on the air and be like, you got to hear Cocker and Carrie in the morning. They're great. They do the whole War of the Roses thing. It really fucking takes off. I wouldn't put the Black Crowes in. I would put in Oasis. I'd go those three. It's too early for Soundgarden. Again, see, like, okay, here's my Bad Company and Soundgarden to me are in the same boat, right? Is Soundgarden great? Yes. But when you look at the 90s, Nirvana's already in, Pearl Jam's already in, right? Green Day's already in. Even the fucking Foo Fighters are in, right? You can put all these bands in front of Soundgarden. It's like you're the 12th version of this kind of a band. I don't know if we fucking need you in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know? Neil, I didn't know who Cocker was until you started naming songs. Neil, you've got some homework, my friend. We've got something for you to do over the weekend. Put on Joe Cocker and just fucking enjoy the ride. It's going to be great. You're going to have a blast. Start with the letter, okay? Let me give you the order. I want you to go in. Hold on. Let me bring out my fucking Spotify here. Don't push me around, people. I'm getting to it. We're trying to convert somebody here. We're going to help Neil. We're going to make Neil a better person. Neil's going to come out of this weekend, Cocker weekend, so I like to call it. And Neil's going to be like, holy shit. Neil's going to go into work on Monday. Do you work, Neil? Or are you a student? Give me the deets. Neil's going to fly into work on Monday being like, you guys got to fucking check out Joe Cocker. You're going to be fucking blown away. You're going to be blown away. All right. This is what I want you to do. Now, see, this is not in order. I want you to go with the letter. Okay. I want you to go with the letter. Then I want you to go with a little help from my friends. Okay. Then I want you to go with You Can Leave Your Hat On. You can leave your hat on. Mm-mm-mm. Then I want you to go to Feeling All Right. Now, by the time you get to Feeling All Right, I want you to turn it off. I know it's only 4 songs. I want you to turn it off. Give it a day. Come back on Sunday. And in your head is going to be Feeling All Right. You're just going to be walking around the house going, feeling all right. Uh-huh. I'm not feeling too good myself. I'm feeling all right. You're going to be fucking strutting around the house to Feeling All Right. Fucking loving life. Neil, you're going to be fucking loving life. And then, where else do I want you to go? Oh my God. Then I want you to put on Darling Be Home Soon. My darling, be home soon. Oh my God. It's not too, it's too, if you, and then you could just roll through the fucking, this is Joe Cocker Spotify play. These are all pretty good. She came in through the bathroom window, Unchain My Heart. You Are So Beautiful is a little tearjerker. Have a Little Faith in Me is pretty good. His version of that. Summer in the City is pretty good. I Shall Be Released is really good. Delta Lady. You got to get some Delta Lady in there. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm comfortable with what I told you. Put a Spell on You. I don't know if I put that in there. And then where was yes, and then Robin. Now, after you listen to this, then I want you to go to YouTube and I want you to Google John Belushi, Joe Cocker, and then watch that bit because there's nothing better than that. It's fucking great. It's fucking great. You're gonna have a great time. I just got myself so hyped on it. I'm putting Joe Cocker ahead of Mariah Carey on my little list here. So Joe Cocker, Mariah Carey, and what was my third one? I forgot what I said already. She came in through the bathroom window. Oasis. And then I moved to strike Fish from the record. I want them, not only do I want them not in the fucking Hall of Fame, I want them out of music altogether. Fish sucks. I can't stand it. Fish is okay. There's like one song that's good. I could never really. And people never got that when I was like, I love Dave Matthews, but I can't stand Fish. None of their songs are good, you know? And I love the Grateful Dead too. Don't like Fish. I don't know what happened. I need a chorus somewhere. I need lyric and structure somewhere. I'm too busy getting errand out the ass and work. All right, but you can listen to music at work, right? Fucking put on Joe Cocker. Have a couple of cocktails. Listen, if you can get a little gummy going or a cocktail or two and get Joe Cocker going, you're fucking set. You're fucking set. I'm feeling all right. Mm-hmm. You put that raspy voice with some talented female backup singers and a little horn section, and you're talking about absolute magic. Yeah, I don't even like Ben and Jerry's fish food. I don't even like that fucking. Yeah, the Belushi and the Joe Cocker, you're not gonna be disappointed. You're gonna fucking love it. You're gonna absolutely love it. It's gonna be good. I think I said Delta Lady. Didn't I say Delta Lady? If I didn't say Delta Lady, tack it on there. Tack it on there because it's gonna be fucking fantastic. I'm gonna start rocking Joe Cocker on my way out of the show here. It's gonna be amazing. Oh my God, Neil, you're in for a good time, my man. You're gonna have a fucking blast doing Joe Cocker weekend. I hope we don't get flagged for this because I hope you can hear it, but not really hear it because I don't want to get in trouble for it. That's it for me. We're out. I hope you guys had a nice little show. Enjoyed it. I'm going to catch you guys on Friday show. Oh my gosh. Friday show is going to be killer. Hopefully we'll have Aaron back with a game. Have some more laughs. We'll have some more Joe Cocker, everybody. Have a great episode.